Hello, 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 dreamers. Perla here, as always. Thank you for your love and support. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel. And if you haven't done so, go ahead and do so. We would love to have you. This is the collective reading. Okay, collective reading. There is this energy this week that it is reminding you in a very gentle and subtle way to please, please put yourself first. And what does this look like? I feel that a lot of you are either beginning to realize or beginning to have the understanding that when you are over pleasing or over accommodating to other people, it is always at the sacrifice of yourself or the sacrifice of something that you wanted to do for yourself. And it is not something big, it is not something extravagant. We're getting back to the tiny little basics of things, right? So let's say you decided that on Wednesday evening between 6 and 9 p.m. you were going to read, you were going to start reading this book that you got, right? And you set aside every Wednesday between 7 and 9 or 7 and 8, whatever it is, right? That you were going to just sit down, have a cup of tea or even a glass of wine and just read your book at home by yourself. And now all of a sudden, every single Wednesday, somebody needs something, right? Whether it is a client, whether it is a friend, whether it is your significant other, whether it is a family member, somebody needs something every single freaking Wednesday between the time, the hours that you have set aside for yourself. And now these are energies. And again, you can look at it as testing you or whatever it is. We have to have the understanding that we create the reality that we want. So when we say we're going to do something, we sometimes simultaneously create things to see if we're actually going to stick to our word, especially for those that have always, um, okay, especially for those of you that have always put yourself last and you have always put everyone else's well-being or everyone else's things before yourself, right? So you can look at this as a test if you want. Like, are you really going to show up for yourself, right? I'm very adamant. I have certain days of the week where I don't see clients at all. And I get it, but I have a certain days of the week that I am completely offline, completely off everything, and they're just Perla days, right? And that is something that allows me to stay consistent, and it allows me to stay, I don't want to say connected, but it allows me to dive deeper into the things that spirit wants to connect with me about or wants to channel whatever it is, right? And sometimes you have to realize that these moments that you set aside for yourself or these promises that you set aside for yourself are the foundation that are going to create the life that you want, that are going to create the stability that you want. Because when you are sure within yourself, when you are being truthful to yourself, excuse me, when you are honoring yourself, when you are showing up for yourself as you say you are going to, it starts to create a balance, especially within your root chakra, of stability, of groundingness. But when you are constantly breaking promises to yourself, that's when you start to feel the unbalance. That's when you start to feel the ungrounding. As I'm recording this, I've had at least 3 or 4 text messages. My phone, and I'm just gonna pull it out. Both of my phones are underneath my desk, because my desk is like a two-layer thing, right? They're right underneath my desk, and it's going off. And I will check them, but I will check them when I'm done, right? And that is kind of like, and again, if it was an emergency, the phone call would be coming through, right? Like it would get through that personal do not disturb, right? And it's almost kind of like some of you have installed in you a fear of missing out, a very huge fear of missing out. And I don't even think that a lot of you even comprehend how it is that that's showing up or why it is that it's showing up. I'm going to be complaining, and we are going to jump into love here a little bit because it is peeking through and I keep on trying to ignore it, but it's like, nah, bitch, you need to come back to this. Anyways, there is this sense that, maybe as a child, maybe in school, etc., you felt left out, you felt like you weren't included, you felt like people, didn't invite you to things and all of this. And all of those things are valid. But I want you to maybe dig a little deeper, to try and see where it actually initiated. Where did you begin to notice this? Like, could it have been in grade school? Could it have been in preschool if you can remember that far back, right? And then start to, because again, when I talk about healing, I'm not asking you to dive into like a 6 month freaking deep, dark shadow things. Sometimes things just need to be acknowledged. You need to be aware, like, oh, this began here. so that when something begins to trigger you in this moment, right? Because remember, you're being triggered in this moment. And when I say trigger, it's like even this, like, the overcompensating, the overhelping, the overgiving, that is a reaction to some type of trigger, right? So a trigger doesn't have to get you down the line where you're just angry and screaming and all of this and all of that. It can be being complacent in a certain way that you don't want to. It is being peer pressure in a way that you don't want to. There is a correlation there with some type of trigger. So what I'm inviting you to do is to acknowledge at least that that's what's happening. Like, even if you go ahead and be like, yeah, I'll come and help you. Be like, oh shoot, I just let myself down. Got it. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to take a note of it, and I'm going to do better next time. Because that is really all you can do, is to strive to do better the next time. Strive to make better choices the next time. But you're not going to consciously make better choices if you keep denying when these triggers are appearing, if you keep denying when these triggers are coming up. If you keep suppressing them and ignoring them, you're going to be in the same situation. Nothing is going to change and nothing is going to shift. And 10 years down the line, you find yourself in the same situation financially, physically, emotionally. Like, I see people living the same fucking year over and over and over and over and over again, and I'm like, dude, it's been like fucking 20 years. Like, what are you doing? And that is because of the fact that there is no self-reflection, there is no accountability, there is no taking responsibility. It is more of just constantly projecting or constantly suppressing down the things the spirit wants to make known to you, so that you can free yourself from these conditions, from that cycling. Okay. All right. So there is something here about love that is trying to come through. There may have been a quick separation or a quick argument, a quick distance. Maybe you guys decided to take a break for a week or two or whatever it is. There is a conversation about reconciliation. Now, I am going to say one thing. Whatever it was that led to that argument, to that separation, to that distance, is still there. It has not been addressed. It has not been dealt with. And for those of you that are wondering, my nails are coming back in a couple of weeks. As you guys are seeing, as I'm recording this, I'm prepping for surgery, so they needed to come out. Anyways, so they'll be back in a couple of weeks. There is a sense that, again, you guys are going to reconcile. You guys are going to have a conversation. You guys are going to make a lot of promises to each other about being more aware, about communicating better, or about addressing the issue. But to be honest with you, I feel like quickly and very suddenly the issue is pushed aside and nobody's really addressing it, and then you're going to move into that pattern again, right? Because then we move forward a couple of days and the issue, whatever it was, is coming back up, and it's escalating very fast. And then somebody here is telling the other person, well, why did you take me back? Like, why did we get back together if you're still going to bring this up? Okay, we both decided that when we got back together that we were going to address this. And again, somebody is not wanting to address whatever the issue was, right? Whether it was poor communication, whether it was needing more help around the house, whether it's issues with finance. Maybe somebody was stepping out a little, talking or entertaining other people, even if they physically didn't do anything. Maybe it is the way that somebody communicates everything about your relationship with them to like their family members or whatever it is. There's something here that has not been addressed. And I want to say it in this way, it hasn't been dissected, right? So I am a very big I'm very big at like dissecting problems or issues when it comes to communication. And I also have the understanding that not everything needs to be dissected in full right away. Sometimes you have to dissect things in little bits and pieces. And that's something that I've learned through my relationships with my children, right? Because I give them the space to always come up to me and talk to me. And sometimes I have one specific child, and yeah, she is a Scorpio, that comes in and gives me like little bits and pieces. And I'm a very much like, I want the full story. I want everything. We're going to dissect it and we're going to get it all done right now, because we're not going to carry this shit, right? And with her, that's not the way that it works. She'll sprinkle a little bit here today, and this can be anything, things that are going on in school, with friends, whatever it is. And then like 2 or 3 days later, she comes in with a little bit of something else, but she doesn't avoid addressing it. But I have to meet her at her pace as to how it is that she wants to handle whatever challenges she's having at the moment. So me knowing how I am and knowing how she is, I know how to address, I know how to accommodate, I know how to compromise with her, right? Where I have another Capricorn as a child, and I have a Virgo as a child, and they're very much, boom, let's get this shit out in the open. This is what's happening, da 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 da, and this and this and that. And then I have another Scorpio, because I have twin girls, that it's like pulling teeth to get shit out of her, right? But again, I have to learn how to meet my children in a way that still allows them to speak up, still allows them to be seen and heard, and not allow. I'm not saying that I'm not allowing them, but not not pushing them into suppressing or dismissing things that are very much important to them, right? And it could have been, when they were like, they're much older now, but let's say like when they were 3 years old, somebody took my yellow pencil. That was a tragic thing for a 2 year old, a 3 year old, a 4 year old, like, somebody, because it was theirs, right? So that's kind of like what I'm trying to say when it comes to this relationship. There's something here that you guys are suppressing, and it may be more important to one of you than to the other. And there is a needing of an understanding and a compromise that it's needed. So we're going to use the Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck as your closing message. These videos for this week and probably the next, I believe the week before, and probably the next couple of weeks, depending how, because I think these are going to be the last week that I'm going to record before surgery, are a little, may seem a little shorter. And I keep on feeling that myself. So just kind of be aware of it. I'm not rushing. It's just the way that they're coming through. We have as your closing message, the medicine mother, honor your inner knowing. Honor your inner knowing, right? So we started this entire reading with needing to, again, honor yourself, honor the promises and the things that you tell yourself that you're going to do for yourself. So there is a sense here of, whether you choose to or not, it is a choice that you have. But that part of you that wants to feel grounded, that wants to feel seen, that wants to feel known, that wants to feel safe within yourself is asking you that at least try to make yourself a priority in your own life. Alrighty? Well, that is all that I have. Sending every single one of you love, strength, and blessing, guys. Take care. Love you all. Mwah. Bye-bye.